Breaking away from the traditional 9 to 5 grind can be really freeing. And when you start to work as a freelancer, the first payment that you receive as an independent worker helps to, confirm that you have made the right decision by leaving your job. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a short while. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 7 mistakes that new freelancers often make and how they can be avoided. As a freelancer, some of the things that you enjoy will be flexibility, autonomy, and an opportunity to pursue your own dream. But a lot of freelancers make so many mistakes that could have been avoided if they had the opportunity to watch videos like this one. I remember when I was starting out in freelancing, nobody told me about the pitfalls, nobody prepared me for the challenges that I faced, right? And basically, that's what this video is about. I'm going to be talking about 7 mistakes new freelancers make and how to avoid them or rectify them. Number 1 is ignoring self-promotion. So I don't know if this is from a place of fear or if it's from a place of ignorance, but new freelancers don't like to promote themselves at all. So I have these few people that I work with, and they are really good, great designers, but they're also new freelancers. And when you tell them that they are not promoting themselves enough, like they're not showing up on social media, they're not really talking about what they do, and if you try to urge them to, it's like you're telling them to work on hot coals. But I remember myself how I felt. One of the reasons why I wasn't doing self-promotion as a freelancer, as a new freelancer at that time, was because I wasn't really confident in my abilities. So it could be that that is the case with them, right? But for others, I see that they believe in this, they have this erroneous belief that their work will speak for them, and that's not usually the case. Listen, as a new freelancer, if you are thinking that your work will speak for you, I'm sorry to inform you that your work is not going to speak anything, because you're not the only one in that space. You're not the only one in that field. There are so many people doing as good as you are. There are so many people who are, skilled as you are, and they are putting themselves out there. So no, your work is not going to speak for you. If you don't promote yourself, you don't get clients. If you don't get clients, you don't make money. And if you don't make money, what are you doing in the first place? If, on the other hand, you're worried that you're not good enough, the first thing that I would say is that don't believe that lie. Your mind's just playing tricks on you. The reason why you're feeling like that is because you have actually taken the step, right? Your brain is trying to create a safe space for you, and it wants you to go back to your comfort zone, right? So no, ignore that voice if you think you're not good enough. But at the same time, if that feeling persists, or if that's the feeling you have, then I would advise that you continue to develop yourself. So if you're not confident about your skills, it's because you've not developed yourself enough. So you should do that. And once you have done that, invest time in building an online presence, right? Volunteer, network, join online communities, put yourself out there. Let the people that would appreciate your work see you and call for you. Also, stop isolating yourself. Stop working in isolation. Sometimes working from home or working remotely can lead to feelings of isolation. So what you should do is seek out opportunities that will put you out there. Like I said, you should volunteer if you can. You should work for free if you can, right? And this issue of working for free is a whole lot. A lot of people will tell you not to work for free, but my advice to you is that if you're starting out, there are so many free work that you should do, right? So what you should now do is put a balance between everything. Let everything have a balance, right? The number of free work you do should not be more than the number of paid work that you do. Also, seek out communities, right? Whether that is online or offline, and Tika communities for collaboration, for support, for sponsorship, and so on. The second one is underpricing your services, and this one is a given. A lot of new freelancers tend to underprice themselves. And let me tell you a short story. When I started out with social media management, a friend of mine connected me with a friend of his who was into real estate business, and they wanted a social media management service. They also wanted a website, which were the things that I did. So I was supposed to come up with a quote, and I did come up with my quote. So while I was creating my quote, I had this doubt. I had this fear that if it was too much, they would not take me. They would take somebody that is cheaper. So I wrote a proposal and included my cost implication. And it took me 3 days to write the proposal. And every morning when I wake up, I will review the cost implication and I will reduce it by like 10% or 20%. I can't remember. At the end of the day, I put a particular service, the cost of it, I put 5,000 naira per month. And then there was another one that I put 10,000 naira per month. And then the day came that I was supposed to go and show the clients. And I went and I showed him everything. I talked about the price, I talked about the project, and he didn't say anything. He was just watching as I spoke, and it was reading because I sent the proposal to him while I read it from my computer, and was also reading it. And he said they would get back to me. And lo and behold, till now, they've not gotten back to me. Even my friend was quiet the whole time, and my friend never said anything about it again. So, after I now became like, after I spent a number of years in the freelancing world, I now realized what my mistake was. I realized that for the kind of projects they were doing, for the kind of company they were, my services were just too small, too ridiculously small. And it showed that I didn't have a vision for myself and I didn't want that kind of person. So that was what happened, and that was why I lost that offer. For you, honestly, the reason why you're charging low prices for your work is because you don't rate yourself, right? You don't value yourself yet because you don't know the value of what you bring to the table. You don't know the value of the what you do. And also, you don't trust yourself. You don't trust in your abilities. You don't trust in your ability to deliver. And don't forget, I'm talking from experience. So I know how it feels to want to reduce it a little bit in case they say no, because you can't afford to lose this project, or because you are thinking that you might not do it well. So let the money be small so that even if you fail, they won't get angry. So let me tell you how I dealt with this. Because I did not trust myself at all, I didn't trust in what I could deliver, I started to do free work, right? So because I knew that if I did free work and I didn't do it well, nobody will complain about anything. So what I did was I started with my low hanging fruit. I got my sister's business page and I started working on it. Then my own social media page as well, I started working on it. I started growing my page. I started to create content for my page. I built my own website for myself to see, the level of what I could do. So I used that opportunity to test my skills, to validate my skills, and I started to create content, post it on social media. I started to show the free work that I did for other people, for my family members, don't forget, on social media, just to see how people will receive it. So I continued like that, and I started to develop muscle. I started to develop self-confidence in the work that I did. So I started to develop my self-confidence until I was sure that I could deliver, and I started to charge right. Then there was an issue. I didn't know how to charge right. Before I started to charge right, I didn't know how to charge. So I started to read on how I could charge. I started to learn how I could do that. I started to read a lot of people's opinions about it so that I would not shortchange myself. So if you are in that shoe right now, I think that's what you should do. All those things I've listed, try to validate your skill, validate your abilities, work for free, pick your low hanging fruits, work on your self development as well, and then learn all you can about negotiation, learn all you can about pricing, and you can do well for yourself. But don't ever see underpricing yourself as a strategy to win clients, because if you do that, you'll be building a brand that you cannot sustain in the long run. Number three is fear of saying no. So now that you have developed your self-confidence, you may feel compelled to accept every job opportunity, even though it doesn't align with your skills, your abilities, with your values, or with your expertise. And values are very important as a freelancer, as a creator. And I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about my IG live that I do every last Friday of the month. It's called Values Based Lifestyle for Content Creators. And there I talk about how content creators can develop good values that will help skyrocket your skills, help skyrocket your business, take you to the next level. So every last Friday of the month, I do it. You can also watch the previous episodes on YouTube or on my Instagram. You can't take every job. You can't take every job. I used to have a friend who was a graphic designer, and he would say yes to everybody that came his way. And then, one day we were working together, and I saw that he was trying to like hide from some people. So I asked him, why are you trying to hide? Why you've been trying to hide from this person, you've been trying to hide from that person. What is going on? And he said that, oh, he took their job and it was not delivered. They're calling him. And when we are together, his phone is ringing all the time. And people are sending messages, they're asking for their jobs. And I told him that you don't know how to say no. I think that's what your problem is. And eventually it backfired a lot in his business. Learning to say no tactfully is essential for maintaining a sustainable freelance career. And another problem that is under the same umbrella with not saying no is overcommitting. Taking on too much work or agreeing to tight deadlines without considering your capacity, without considering your time, can lead to a lot of missed deadlines, can lead to poor quality work, can lead to burnout. So learn how to say no and don't overcommit. Number four is not setting boundaries. As a freelancer, boundaries are very important. You need to set boundaries from the beginning. So you have to set boundaries regarding so many things. You have to set boundaries regarding communication, revisions, deadlines, scope of work, and so many other things. Otherwise, you open the door for clients to work all over you. And if you fail, it would lead to burnout, because people would always eat into your time. So for instance, when I started, like, I would work on Saturdays, I would work on Sundays. I didn't know that you could tell a client that you don't work weekends. Also, I was working into the night because I didn't know that you had the closing time, right? I just thought that you could work anytime the clients called you, you needed to be available, until I started to see what other social media managers were saying online. And then they would say, they would talk about all those things. And so I started to infuse it into my work. I started to infuse it into my policy, and sanity returned to my freelance life. So it's not as if clients are bad. It's not as if people are bad, right? It's not as if they want to work all over you. It's not as if they want to burn you out. Number five is working without drawing up contracts and agreements. Starting work without a written contract or agreements detailing timelines, project scope, payment terms, and other important things can lead to it can lead to a lot of disputes. It can lead to a lot of non-payments. You need to draw up contracts. You need to be very, very specific with your contracts. You need to be detailed with your contracts and with your agreements as a new freelancer. So I had this client that didn't believe in any of that. So when I tell him, okay, I can't work without a contract, I can't work without an agreement, he will tell me to draw it up. He told me to draw it up, and I did, and I took it over to his office, and he asked me to sign, and I signed, and he collected it and put it in his pocket. He did not sign. He did not sign it, and he was supposed to sign it and have his own copy, give me my own copy. He did not sign it, and I ignored that, and we started to work for a while. But after a while of working, in the middle of the project, he just called the work off, and I was really angry, but there was nothing I could do. I didn't have any contracts or any agreements backing me up. So I just had to like let the work go like that. Also, I had a client who is a lawyer. I came up with the contract, I came up with the agreement myself, and he scrutinized everything. It was, because I'm not a lawyer. So what I would advise is, if you cannot draw it up yourself, give it to a friend who is a lawyer, give it to your neighbor, anybody that you know who is a lawyer. Ask them to draw it up for you, or tell them to let you know what to put in the contract and agreement. Because for me, it was at the end of the day, when he signed the contract, I began to worry that I hope I won't have problems. So I was worried that something might happen and it might lawyer up on me, but that didn't happen. The issue that I had was non-payment. It didn't pay me at the time it was supposed to pay me, which was stipulated in the contract. And because he didn't do that, I had to terminate the contract, right? And he went on with his business, I went on with my own business as well. So it is important that you protect yourself, back yourself up with contracts and agreements. But it doesn't mean that every client will care about it. It doesn't mean that they would follow it. It doesn't mean that they won't shut down the project in the middle of the work, with or without contract. But it just helps to ensure that you are protected. It lets them know that you know what you are doing and they can't mess with you. And number 6 is neglecting professional development. As a freelancer, you have to continue to invest in improving your skill and staying updated with the industry. So many times, where as freelancers, when we start getting jobs, we focus so much on the job that we ignore professional development, we ignore developing our skill, we ignore taking courses, right? Because we are making money and we are growing, and we begin to feel that we know everything there is to know about the job. But that's incorrect, right? You need to continue to develop yourself professionally. Number 7, not having a mentor in the industry. When I started, I didn't have a mentor, right? I didn't have anybody that I was looking up to. So even later on, when I started to make mistakes, I began to follow people that I knew that were doing that, and I began to check their comments, check their contents on social media, read their ebooks, take courses from those people. I started to watch videos. I started to learn I started to learn that they've also made that mistake and they've made corrections, and I began to learn from their corrections. So the truth is, you can't make all the mistakes in the world for you to learn from. You can't learn from your own mistakes alone. You can only learn from the mistakes of people that have gone ahead, different people that have gone ahead. So, like I said before, don't work in isolation. Don't think you've got this. Don't think that you don't need help in that industry. Don't think that you can reach out to someone older. Just a few days ago, I was with a group of creatives, and 2 photographers were there, and the one who had more experience was telling the one who was just coming up, who also had experience, a few mistakes that he was making. And it was very surprising when the younger one took the correction. It was like, oh yeah, that's true, I realized that I make mistakes and I appreciate you for correcting me. I was shocked because not a lot of new freelancers or upcoming professionals can say that. So it's very important that you take corrections. It's very important that you um have a mentor, have somebody that is guiding you in your industry. All right, so those are my 7 cents on mistakes that new freelancers make and how to avoid or rectify them. If you have any comments, you can put it in the comment section. Let me know what you feel about what I've said. Let me know any story that you talk about. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Fisayo Patrick1. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. And also, you can follow my podcast on Spotify. It's called Realities of a Nigerian Creative. If you're a Nigerian creative, a content creator, social media manager, photographer, graphic design, any kind of creative artist, musician, it's really important that you follow that. I talk about the challenges creators face in Nigeria, and I bring people on board to share their stories. So that's all I have on today on this video. I'll talk to you in the next video.